Question. If a tire blows out, the proper thing to do is option number 1. Speed up to gain traction and then pull to the right. Option number 2. Hold the steering wheel firmly and ease up on the gas. Option number 3. Apply the brakes then shift into neutral. Option number 4. Shift into neutral then apply the brakes. The answer is option number 2. Hold the steering wheel firmly and ease up on the gas. Note: if a tire blows out, hold the steering wheel tight and slowly take your foot off the gas pedal. If your vehicle skids, handle it as you would on ice or snow. Do not use your brake until your vehicle is controlled. Question. What is the appropriate action to take when approaching a railroad crossing that does not have signals, such as lights or crossing gates? Option number 1. Always bring the car to a complete stop. Option number 2. Slow down and be prepared to stop. Option number 3. Do nothing. All railroad crossings have signals. Option number 4. Increase speed to get across the tracks quickly. The answer is option number 2. Slow down and be prepared to stop. Note: some railroad crossings do not have gates or flashing lights. When approaching unmarked or passive grade crossing, slow down and be prepared to stop. Before you cross, be sure that a train is not coming. Question. If you drive past your exit on an expressway, you should: option number 1. Pull onto the shoulder then back up to the exit. Option number 2. Drive to the next exit and leave the expressway. Option number 3. Make a U-turn at the nearest emergency turn area. Option number 4. Make a U-turn at the next service area. The answer is option number 2. Drive to the next exit and leave the expressway. Note: if you enter an expressway going a different direction than you intended, or at the wrong exit, or you drive past your exit, stay on the expressway until the next exit. After you exit the expressway, you can figure out where you need to go, and if necessary, get back on the expressway. It is dangerous to back up on an entrance or exit ramp, or to try to cross a median. Question. Which statement is true for night driving? Option number 1. If an approaching driver does not dim the headlights, flash your headlights to high beam for a second, then return to low beam. Option number 2. To reduce glare from lights of following vehicles, switch your inside rear view mirror to the night position. Option number 3. Keep the interior roof light off and dim the dashboard lights. Option number 4. All of the above. The answer is option number 4. All of the above. Question. You have just left an expressway and are starting to drive on an ordinary highway. You should: option number 1. Check your tires for correct pressure. Option number 2. Check your speedometer to keep at the low speed limit. Option number 3. Stay twice as far behind other cars. Option number 4. Change gradually to the low speed limit. The answer is option number 2. Check your speedometer to keep at the lower speed limit. Note: after you leave an expressway, look for speed limit signs and check your speedometer to be sure you are driving within the posted limit. You are not likely to be on a 55 miles per hour, 88 km per hour road. Question. When your right wheels run onto a soft shoulder, what is the best way to get back on the highway? Option number 1. Apply the brakes firmly and steer gently to the left. Option number 2. Ease your foot off the gas and brake gently. Option number 3. Steer hard to the left and then gently to the right. Option number 4. Apply the brakes firmly and stop completely. The answer is option number 2. Ease your foot off the gas and brake gently. Question. You may drive around or under a gate that is being lowered or raised at a railroad crossing. Option number 1. As long as approaching train is not too close. Option number 2. If your vehicle can do so without damaging the gate. Option number 3. If you first look carefully in both directions. Option number 4. Under no circumstances. The answer is option number 4. Under no circumstances. Note: do not go across the tracks until the lights and bell have stopped and the crossing gates are completely up. Do not drive around or under a gate that is moving up or down. You must remain stopped at least 15 feet from the tracks. Question: when you drive in heavy fog during daylight hours, you should drive with your option number 1. Headlights off. Option number 2. Parking lights on. Option number 3. Headlights on low beam. Option number 4. Headlights on high beam. The answer is option number 3. Headlights on low beam. Note: headlights on high beam reflect rain, fog and snow as it falls. This makes it even harder for you to see. For better visibility during these weather conditions, keep your headlights on low beam. Question: expressways have expressway entrance lanes, acceleration lanes so that drivers can option number 1. Test their brakes before driving at expressway speed. Option number 2. Stop at the end to wait for a traffic opening. Option number 3. Reach the proper speed before blending with traffic. Option number 4. Test the pickup for their cars. The answer is option number 3. Reach the proper speed before blending with traffic. Note: unless there is a stop or yield sign or traffic light on the expressway entrance ramp, use the ramp to accelerate to expressway speed and blend with traffic. Signal, then look over your shoulder for traffic already on the expressway. If necessary, slow down to safely merge into traffic. Question: if an approaching train is near enough or going fast enough to be a danger, you must option number 1. Slow down and proceed with caution. Option number 2. Not cross the tracks until the train has completely passed. Option number 3. Cross the tracks at your own risk. Option number 4. Find an alternative road across tracks. The answer is option number 2. Not cross the tracks until the train has completely passed. Question: you are getting on a highway which has a very short entrance lane. The safest way for you to enter the flow of traffic would be to option number 1. Use as much ramp as possible to get up to cruising speed. Option number 2. Use the left lane of the highway to get up to cruising speed. Option number 3. Wait for a large gap in traffic, then speed up quickly. Option number 4. Get up to cruising speed gradually so other cars will see you. The answer is option number 3. Wait for a large gap in traffic, then speed up quickly. Note: if the entrance lane or ramp is too short to allow acceleration to expressway speed, the safest method to enter is to stop and wait for a large space in traffic. Then enter the expressway and accelerate quickly. Question: when driving at night, it is most important for you to option number 1. Use your high beam at all times. Option number 2. Drive within range of your headlights. Option number 3. Be ready to brake more quickly. Option number 4. Watch for cars at intersections. The answer is option number 2. Drive within range of your headlights. Note: you should drive slower than you would in daylight. Your headlights cover about 350 feet ahead. It is important that you drive at a speed that allows you to stop safely within that distance. Be considerate when you use your high beams. Your headlights must be on low beam when you are within 500 feet of an oncoming vehicle or within 200 feet of a vehicle ahead of you, even if the vehicle ahead is in a different lane. Question: what vehicles must stop at all railroad crossings? Option number 1. Pickup trucks. Option number 2. School buses and passenger buses carrying passengers. Option number 3. Motorcycles. Option number 4. Vehicles towing a trailer. The answer is option number 2. School buses and passenger buses carrying passengers. Note: school buses with or without passengers, other buses with passengers on board, and vehicles with explosives or flammable cargo must stop at all railroad crossings. Question: if your brake pedal suddenly sinks to the floor, you should first. Option number 1. Try to pump it to build up the pressure. Option number 2. Shift into neutral and shut the engine off. Option number 3. Try to raise it by hooking your toe under it. Option number 4. Apply the parking brake hard to stop the car. The answer is option number 1. Try to pump it to build up the pressure. Note: if your brake pedal suddenly goes to the floor, brake fails, try pumping it to increase pressure. If that does not help, use your emergency or parking brake, but use it gently. If you shift to a lower gear, it will help your vehicle decrease speed. Question: this sign is a warning that you are approaching. Option number 1. An intersection. Option number 2. A crosswalk. Option number 3. A railroad crossing. Option number 4. A blasting zone. The answer is option number 3. A railroad crossing. Question: your car starts to skid on a slippery road. You should. Option number 1. Brake quickly and keep the wheel straight. Option number 2. Lock your brakes until you have come to a complete stop. Option number 3. Steer in the direction you want the front wheels to go. Option number 4. Steer towards the side of the road to get off the wet pavement. The answer is option number 3. Steer in the direction you want the front wheels to go. Question: which of the following statements applies to all driving emergency situations? Option number 1. Always slow down gradually. Option number 2. Your first reaction is the best reaction. Option number 3. Think before you act. Option number 4. Apply your brakes immediately. The answer is option number 3. Think before you act. Note: the most important rule in any emergency is do not panic. You have a better chance in an emergency if you do not let fear take over. In most emergencies, you will have a second or two to think before you act. Question: when you drive at night, you reduce the problem of glare from the headlights of an approaching car by. Option number 1. Looking to the lower right side of your lane. Option number 2. Having the inside lights on to make the amount of light equal. Option number 3. Looking at the spot on the lower edge of the steering wheel. Option number 4. Wearing glasses with lightly tinted lens. The answer is option number 1. Looking to the lower right side of your lane. Note: to help avoid the glare of approaching high beams from vehicles at night, move your eyes to the right. Use the road edge as a guide until the approaching vehicle passes by. Question: why is driving on an expressway different from driving on an ordinary street? Option number 1. You must think faster and handle your vehicle more effectively. Option number 2. Trucks have to go slower on the expressways. Option number 3. There is more of a tendency to exceed the speed limit. Option number 4. There is more of a tendency to tailgate. The answer is option number 1. You must think faster and handle your vehicle more effectively. Note: expressway driving normally combines higher speeds with heavy traffic. The higher speed and amount of traffic require you to think faster and handle your vehicle in a more efficient manner than in most other conditions. Question: when you get ready to leave an expressway, you should begin to use your turn signal. Option number 1. Just as you get to the exit ramp. Option number 2. 50 feet before the exit ramp. Option number 3. 100 feet before the exit ramp. Option number 4. When you see cars behind you in the exit lane. The answer is option number 3. 100 feet before the exit ramp. Note: make sure to signal your exit at least 100 feet 30 meters before you reach the exit ramp. When you are on the exit ramp of expressway, decrease your speed. There is often a lower speed limit displayed for the ramp. Question: if traffic prevents you from crossing all the way across a set of railroad tracks, you may proceed only when. Option number 1. An approaching train is not moving fast enough to be a danger. Option number 2. There is room for your vehicle on the other side. Option number 3. At least one half of your vehicle can cross the tracks. Option number 4. No trains are in sight. The answer is option number 2. There is room for your vehicle on the other side. Note: if other traffic prevents you from going fully across, wait and go across only when there is room. Do not under any circumstances attempt to cross any railroad tracks unless you are certain your entire vehicle will clear all of the tracks at the crossing. Question: when attempting to stop on a slippery road, the best action to take is. Option number 1. Apply the brakes quickly and firmly. Option number 2. Apply the brakes in slow, steady strokes. Option number 3. Shift to a lower gear, do not use the brakes. Option number 4. Shift to neutral, do not use the brakes. The answer is option number 2. Apply the brakes in slow, steady strokes. Note: to prevent skids on slippery roads, brake early, carefully and gently. Press your brakes in slow, steady strokes. Allow the wheels to keep turning. If they begin to lock up, decrease pressure on the brake pedal. As your vehicle decreases speed, you can also shift into a lower gear. Question: when should you use your headlights? Option number 1. 1 hour before sunset until 1 hour after sunrise. Option number 2. Anytime you can't see at least 2 miles ahead. Option number 3. Anytime you have trouble seeing others or being seen. Option number 4. Half hour before sunset until half hour after sunrise. The answer is option number 3. Anytime you have trouble seeing others or being seen. Note: use your headlights when. Number 1. 1/2 hour after the sun sets to 1/2 hour before the sun rises. Number 2. In darkness when visibility does not allow clear recognition of a person or vehicle from a distance of 1000 feet. Number 3. Anytime conditions that may prevent you from seeing other vehicles and also to increase your vehicle's visibility to others while driving. Question: if you lose a wheel while driving, the proper thing to do is. Option number 1. Speed up to gain traction and then pull to the right. Option number 2. Hold the steering wheel firmly and ease up on the gas. Option number 3. Apply the brakes then shift into neutral. Option number 4. Shift into neutral then apply the brakes. The answer is option number 2. Hold the steering wheel firmly and ease up on the gas. Note: if you lose a wheel while driving, hold the steering wheel tight and slowly take your foot off the gas pedal. Do not use your brake until your vehicle is controlled. Question: hydroplaning normally occurs. Option number 1. At higher speeds. Option number 2. If your tires tread are worn. Option number 3. If your tires are not inflated properly. Option number 4. All of above. The answer is option number 4. All of above. Note: in heavy rain, your tires can begin to ride on the water that is on the top of the road pavement. This is called hydroplaning and can cause complete loss of traction and control of steering. If a vehicle begins to lose traction, decrease your speed even more. Good tires with deep tread help to prevent hydroplaning. Question: which of the following is true about roadways on bridges and overpasses in cold, wet weather? Option number 1. They tend to freeze before the rest of the road does. Option number 2. They do not freeze because they are made of concrete. Option number 3. They tend to freeze after the rest of the road does. Option number 4. They are safest to drive on during winter season. The answer is option number 1. They tend to freeze before the rest of the road does. Note: when freezing rain or snow begins to fall, remember that bridges, ramps and overpasses will freeze first. Question: which type of wheel drive vehicles normally handle better in ice and snow? Option number 1. A front wheel drive vehicle or a rear wheel drive vehicle. Option number 2. A four-wheel drive vehicle or a rear-wheel drive vehicle. Option number 3. A front-wheel drive vehicle or a four-wheel drive vehicle. Option number 4. Only a four-wheel drive vehicle. The answer is option number 3. A front-wheel drive vehicle or a four-wheel drive vehicle. Note: although front-wheel drive and four-wheel drive vehicles normally handle better in ice and snow, they do not have flawless traction. Skids can occur without a warning. Do not let the ability to better handle a front wheel or four-wheel vehicle make you drive faster than the road conditions dictate. Question: which of the precautions to be taken before winter arrives is not true? Option number 1. Make sure your vehicle is in good condition. Option number 2. Make sure your vehicle has good snow tires. Option number 3. Can combine radial and non-radial tires on the same vehicle. Option number 4. Tires with metal studs can be used from October 16 through April 30. The answer is option number 3. Can combine radial and non-radial tires on the same vehicle. Question: a railroad crossing indicates that you must stop at least dash from the tracks. Option number 1. 5 feet. Option number 2. 10 feet. Option number 3. 15 feet. Option number 4. 20 feet. The answer is option number 3. 15 feet. Question: if your car stalls on a railroad track and if you see the train approaching, what should you do? Option number 1. Get everyone out of the car and run towards the train but away from the tracks at a 45-degree angle. Option number 2. Get everyone out of the car and run down the track in the same direction as the train. Option number 3. Get everyone out of the car and run away from the tracks at 90-degree angle. Option number 4. Any of the above. The answer is option number 1. Get everyone out of the car and run towards the train but away from the tracks at 45-degree angle. Note: for any reason, if you stall on the tracks, get out of the car even if you do not see a train. Get away from the tracks at 45-degree angle towards the train. Locate the emergency notification system sign and call the number provided, telling them about the stalled vehicle. Question: night driving is dangerous because? Option number 1. Some traffic signs are less visible at night. Option number 2. More vehicles are on the road at night. Option number 3. The distance we can see ahead is reduced. Option number 4. Street lights tend to blur our vision. The answer is option number 3. The distance we can see ahead is reduced. Note: night driving is more dangerous because the distance you can see ahead or to the side is reduced. You should drive slower than you would in daylight. Your headlights cover about 350 feet ahead. It is important that you drive at a speed that allows you to stop safely within that distance. Question: how to avoid collision with deer? Option number 1. Be careful when you drive at dawn and dusk. Option number 2. Deer vehicle collisions occur during the months of October, November and December. Option number 3. Drive carefully at places marked with deer crossing signs. Option number 4. All of the above. The answer is option number 4. All of the above. Note: 2/3 of all deer vehicle collisions occur during the months of October, November and December. This is also the time when deer breed and when they travel the most. Daily deer activity is highest at dawn and dusk. Areas where there have been many deer vehicle collisions often are marked with deer crossing signs. Question: if your steering fails, the proper thing to do is option number 1. Hold the steering wheel firmly and ease up on the gas. Option number 2. Apply the brakes then shift into neutral. Option number 3. Shift into first gear then apply the brakes. Option number 4. Slowly take your foot off the gas pedal and the brake pedal. The answer is option number 4. Slowly take your foot off the gas pedal and the brake pedal. Note: if your vehicle suddenly will not respond when you steer, slowly take your foot off the gas pedal, turn your emergency lights and keep your foot off the brake pedal while it is safe to do so. The balance of the vehicle will allow it to continue going straight, but a sudden change in speed could send it out of control. As the vehicle decreases speed, you can brake very carefully to bring it to a stop. Question: if your vehicle headlight failed, the proper thing to do is option number 1. Drive slowly and carefully to reach safe distance to get help. Option number 2. Use horn to warn other vehicle to leave the roadway safely. Option number 3. Try emergency lights, parking lights and directional signals to leave the roadway safely. Option number 4. All of the above. The answer is option number 3. Try emergency lights, parking lights and directional signals to leave the roadway safely. Note: if your headlights suddenly go out, try your emergency lights, parking lights and directional signals. This may continue to work and give you enough light to leave the roadway safely. If your headlights begin to dim, drive to a service station or pull off the road and go for help. Question: if another vehicle is approaching head-on in your lane, the proper thing to do is option number 1. Increase speed, pull over to the right and sound your horn. Option number 2. Increase speed, pull over to the left and sound your horn. Option number 3. Decrease speed, pull over to the right and sound your horn. Option number 4. Decrease speed, pull over to the left and sound your horn. The answer is option number 3. Decrease speed, pull over to the right and sound your horn. Note: if another vehicle is approaching head-on in your lane, then decrease speed, pull over to the right and sound your horn to warn the other driver. Do not turn into the left lane. If you do, the other driver may suddenly recover and pull back into that lane, causing a head-on collision. Question: if you see smoke come from under the hood, the proper thing to do is option number 1. Pull off the road and park your vehicle. Option number 2. Turn off the ignition. Option number 3. Get away from the car and call the fire department. Option number 4. All of the above. The answer is option number 4. All of the above. Question: driving within the range of your headlights indicates you can stop your vehicle within about how many feet? Option number 1. 250 feet. Option number 2. 300 feet. Option number 3. 350 feet. Option number 4. 400 feet. The answer is option number 3. 350 feet. Note: at night your headlights cover about 350 feet ahead. It is important that you drive at a speed that allows you to stop safely within that distance. This is called driving within the range of your headlights. Question: if your wheels move off the pavement, the proper thing to do is option number 1. Pull the steering wheel back immediately. Option number 2. Ease your foot off the gas pedal and brake gently to decrease the vehicle speed. Option number 3. Shift into first gear, then apply the brakes. Option number 4. All of above. The answer is option number 2. Ease your foot off the gas pedal and brake gently to decrease the vehicle speed. Note: if your wheels move off the pavement, do not pull the steering wheels back. Ease your foot off the gas pedal and brake gently. When your vehicle has decreased speed, check for the traffic behind you. Then turn carefully back onto the pavement.